Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. His name is Jimmy the Bag. My name is Peter Loshak. This is the Loshak in the Bag show for Monday, June 4th, first show of the week, 12 o'clock edition. We got a very short slate of games today, so I put a little Q&A at the end of this. We're going to touch on the very short MLB card. Then, of course, we'll get into Jim's breakdown of the NHL game tonight, and then we'll talk about the Q&A. But Joe, welcome to SBR Sports Picks, sportsbookreview.com, SBRodds.com, SBRodds.com. Jimmy the Bag, we didn't talk about this before we went live, but you know what the big story of today's show is, right?
What is the big story of today's show?
You take a wild guess? I'm killing MLB. You aware of that, Jimmy the Bag? I'm not even I've never had this kind of success. I don't even know how to handle it. On the Friday show, our regular viewers will know I had a ton of picks. I doubled and tripled and quadrupled up on a few of them. And on the Friday show, I said to Jim, you know, I'm doing well in MLB. I've got a ton of picks going. We could be sitting here on Friday. I could be even, or I could be up 25 units. And I would be up 25 units if I hadn't tweeted out a bunch of plays over the weekend. So I'm now pushing 30 units as we sit here right now. I had 20 units on the week last week in MLB. I don't even know how to handle this kind of success, Jim. I don't know how to handle it. I don't even know what to do here.
Well, I think it will help our viewership.
Yeah, you think so? I don't know. Who knows? Who knows?
I do. I think our viewers will climb, man.
Yeah.
Are you on the road to 100 units?
I mean, I don't know. Where could this go? Where could this lead? I mean, if I'm not careful, it could lead back down to 0 in 2 weeks, as we know, right?
Well, are you inferring me being up 17?
No. I'm inferring that all gamblers, all periods of time back from day one have experienced this. You know what I'm saying? Going on a nice little hot streak and thinking that, all I have to do is just be me and it's going to last forever. I can take my eye off the ball. Every gambler from the beginning of time, in perpetuity, a priori, has experienced this, Jim.
I hear you. Our man Nasty Nate saying, I wish it was my birthday again. Both those picks we gave him for his birthday cashed. Cashed.
Oh, yes, that's right. We did. That's right. The birthday picks for Nasty Nate. Shout out to Nasty Nate. I don't know if he's here, but we did give him that pick.
Oh, he's here. He's here.
Oh, shout out to Nasty Nate. Jimmy the Bag. I don't even know how to. I don't even know what to do here. And I had a couple of course, on Friday. I also went 3-1 in WNBA, but then I tweeted out a bunch of picks over the weekend and went 1-3 in those. But maybe I got a little bit hasty there. But I don't even know how to handle this. This is new territory for me psychologically and emotionally, Jimmy the Bag.
Well, I like this new territory. Yeah. I like where you're at.
I like it too. All right, so once again, we have a very short card today. We're going to get to the NBA. I'm sorry, we're going to get to MLB. We're going to get to NHL, and then I don't know. I just figured if anyone has some questions, you know, little story time with Loshak in the Bag, Q&A or whatever. That's we can do that in this show. And if no one has any questions, that's fine too. We'll just end the show early, right? You know what I'm saying? 30 minutes.
I have a ton of shit to say about a ton of shit, so I think we'll be just fine.
You think so?
Yeah, man. People want to know other stuff other than just who we like in the Yankees-Tigers doubleheader. People have a lot of questions about Loshak. You're a mysterious man.
I know. I am a mysterious man. I understand that. Like a black hole. I'm a mysterious man. All right. Shout out to some comments. Kevy K, our best friend Kevy K says, Pete, I can't believe I talked you off quadrupling up. Hats off to you, Loshak. Mad respect. Wish I tail. Thank you so much, Kevy K. Listen, I knew in the show, but everything that Kevin K said was right. He was like, don't be overconfident, this and that. You always have to be careful about overconfidence. But as I addressed in the Friday show, I said I was feeling good about my picks to that day. And I said, I've looked at them 2 or 3 times. I'm like, I feel good about what I'm seeing here. And I don't feel like my confidence is not necessarily that it was accurate, but that it was due to anything, anything false or illusory. You know what I mean? I saw what I was seeing. I thought I liked it. Turned out I was right. Of course, as we know, this could go downhill or it could go up to 100.
I think you're on the road to 100.
Much like the stock market, Bitcoin, everything. It could go all the way down to 0 or go to 1 million. We never know.
You know, I like this.
Yeah,
I like
absolutely,
the
Jimmy the Bag. All right, so let's get to some comments, and then we'll move into the show. Anyway, huge shout out and respect and love to all the commenters that give us so much great information. The information that these commenters give us absolutely helps me in the short term and long term. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the information that the people comment on, if it doesn't necessarily impact my play on that specific day, sticks in my head. I keep it in mind, especially comments about the pitchers. You know what I mean? Comments about possible regression, positive or negative offensively from various players. You know what I'm saying, Jim? Obviously, in the NHL, longtime viewers of these shows will know that NHL, I used to just stick to the playoffs. The regular season, NHL was one of my worst sports. But sitting next to Jim, I had a great NHL season. Strangely, that didn't happen in NBA, but I'm hoping that maybe NBA next year will be a lot better. And in general, the point is, shout out to all the commenters and the viewers. Anything else you want to talk about, Jim, before we start off the day, the week?
Give a shout out to Young Vaughn, man. He's a fire, straight fire in MLB right now. Also want to give a shout out to JK. He says, I didn't have to go into work today, so I get to blast Loshak in the bag on my big screen on the comfort of my own couch with no wife and kid around. This is heaven.
Oh, shit. This guy's got a couch and a wife and a kid. I got none of that.
And he's got a big screen.
I don't have that either, Jimmy. I don't even have fucking internet. Hey, Claro, what the fuck? I won't even get into that. But I haven't had internet from fucking 21st. And the thing, Costa Rica is a little bit weird when it comes to a customer service. You know what I mean? In the U.S., you go and you say, you don't have internet. You don't have internet. They're like, okay, well, we'll see what we can do. With Costa Rica, they just looked at their computer like, yes, you do. I was like, hey, asshole. No, I don't. They were like, yes, you do. I'm like, oh my God. So now everyone's helping me and everything.
Well,
so no.
You're thankful to get an English-speaking representative.
No. It was Sophie was there with me and trying to translate this and that, this and that. You know, it's very funny shit. Very funny shit. I mean, funny shit, not in a pleasant way, but it is ironic. All right, let's see. Pink Guy Genie says WNBA is legit moneymaker as well. Thanks for getting us on this beat. Yeah, I am doing nicely. Small sample size so far in a WNBA. Although I did tweet out 2 losers. I thought that Minnesota was going to be, and it was looking good in the first half. I thought Minnesota was going to be more competitive. I had them plus 5.5. They lost by 8, and I had the team total over, and that one lost as well. But overall, Kevin K says, LOL, Pete, no internet, true caveman style. It is very true. I have to go to, I do have internet, it's not at my house, so I have to go down to like one of the plazas and hang out with all these like 15-year-old Tico skaters while they're like skating around and making jokes in Spanish. And
millennials.
Yeah, exactly. They're younger than millennials. They're like Generation Zs or whatever. And I'm sitting there with my computer trying to handicap all these games. But all right, let's see. What else do we have here? Scotty Rock Forever says, UFC Parlay, Pete, I tweeted you. Did you see it? No, I did not. I did see a message that you sent me, Scotty Rock Forever, but I didn't. I have to be very economical with my internet right now, Scotty Rock, so I just can't peruse Twitter as much as I would like to. But let me see. What else do we have here? Pink Guy Genie says, I had Minnesota first half links. I had that one as well. I actually had 3.5, so I bet the first half. So I did cash on that one, but obviously I lost on my team total over and the full game Minnesota plus the points. Let's see other comments here.
Tomore's got some WNBA facts.
Yeah. Oh, where's that? Oh, Braylon has been absolute trash for Minnesota. They have no point guard. She's just gotten too old. I think LA to win the title plus 180 has value. If Minnesota isn't good, they should roll. Yeah, Tom Marino. I had Minnesota pegged as a team that I wanted to fade from the beginning of the year. I faded them in the first game against LA, and I've been fading them successfully ever since. Of course, I did have picks on Phoenix when Phoenix was an 8-point dog, and that one cashed. I just thought in this game, one way or another against LA, they would show up, and they almost did. It wasn't a blowout, but it was a loss. And they're definitely a team that I think is going to continue to be overvalued going forward. Let's see. What else do we have here? Comments? Any comments you see that are interesting, Jim? Shout them all out.
Yeah, Mally Mal, Dodgers Coors Field fade all weekend. It was a tricky spot. We had the Dodgers game 1, and then Nostra wanted to stick with the Dodgers. And after discussions, we decided not to, game 2, and then he went with them game 3, and I did not. And a lot of people were cashing on those Dodgers. They seem to look like the best team in the NL West, but their pitching is so broken down. I'm afraid to make a futures bet, but you could get plus 220 earlier. Now it's plus 210. It seems like there's a lot of value on the Dodgers to win the NL West, but I have not pulled the trigger.
Yeah, people want me to tweet more. Pink Guy Genie saying tweet more, Beat. I gave Jim a suggestion. I was thinking that maybe I would tweet or Jim and I or both whatever would tweet a post-game tweet after every show, just summarizing things, pointing out what we did. I think that'll be a good idea. Maybe we'll throw it. Gerald Martinez says, throw them records up, Pete. We're going to throw those records. We're going to throw those records. All right, up there. Let me see. I'm just SBR Forum says, good morning. Love the show. Thank you so much. Let's see. All right. So let's get into it. Let's get into MLB. Small slate of games on the card tonight, and let's throw that bitch of a record up there. Johan, you got that record. Look at that record right there, Jimmy the Bag.
Jesus.
29.5 units. And I also, the reason I tweeted on Sunday was because I had another winning day on Saturday. So I was like, I would have had, if I tweeted on Saturday, I would have had like 3 or 4 more units, or like 4 or 5 on that one. All my favorite plays on Saturday cashed as well. So there you go, up 29.5 units. But again, 20.5 those units all came from last week. So let's see what we got here going on. Oh, and UFC, a lot of people are talking about UFC. Yeah, Moraes, of course, got that early stoppage. And, I said I didn't bet that one. I said if you gave me a free play, I would have taken Moraes. The way the fight went doesn't necessarily mean that he was the right side, but everyone who bet him cashed. Scotty Rock Forever says UFC parlay. Pete, I tweeted you. Did you see it? No, I didn't. But shout out to Scotty Rock Forever to hit it. Who hit it? Let me see. What else do we have here? What else do we have here going on? And all right. So. Let's get on it. Jimmy the Bag. MLB today. We got, of course, the Yankees, the doubleheader. We got KC, LA, Atlanta, San Diego, and Arizona, San Francisco. I was looking at this card and I was thinking the only thing I'm really thinking about right now is maybe the first 5 innings over in Atlanta, San Diego. The Yankees, Detroit doubleheader. I don't know what to make of. I mean, Severino against Verhagen, of course. I'll just quickly preview that. For those of you who don't know, this guy Verhagen has had some serious issues pitching at the major league level for his whole career, but recently he turned it way up in the minors. You saw that, right, Jim?
1.32 ERA, 0.77 WHIP.
But you want to bet on him against the Yankees and that bullpen at Severino. Maybe you do. This is one of those very tricky MLB lines that I usually stay off of. Can't take the Yankees here at that line. Can't take Detroit here against the Yankees. What do you think about this game, Jim?
It's very tricky. Yeah. 41 Ks and 27 and a third Verhagen has in the minors. 27 years old. It's very strange to see all this that's wrong with him, and I expect psychologically it's best to get him up against the best team in the league. Let's get right to it. Let's get right to it. But I'm telling you, if the wind wasn't blowing out the way it is, very strongly left center, I would take the under. I know Severino can shut down the Tigers, and I think there might be value with Verhagen, but with the wind like this, I can't do it.
Yeah, If you gave me a free play on this one, I would on the total, and I had to use it on the total. I would take the under anyway, despite the wind.
Yeah, and I thought hard about it this morning, but tough. Yanks won 3 straight. They're 10-1 against the Central. Severino 8-1, 2.31 ERA, 0.97 WHIP. We know he's the ace of this staff, and he's pitching excellently. Limited the opposition to 3 runs or less in each of his last 9 starts. 3 career outings versus Detroit, 2-1, 2.70 ERA. It's Verhagen that's the big question mark here. 0-1, 6.30 ERA, 1.30 WHIP. Now that's not getting a chance to start, right? He had 9 appearances with no starts in the show, and then he came down to the minors and got to start. Yeah, and maybe that is a difference for him psychologically.
Yeah. Who knows? And definitely, it's going to be a weird psychological situation for him to know that he, this is exactly the kind of guy who you used to see that for years and years and years in MLB. Guys who would not dominate, all of a sudden, but there are just some guys who just have what it takes to excel at AAA and then don't have it in the majors. Not saying that's the case here with Verhagen. Yeah, I'm just saying I don't know what to make of this game. Anyone who's wondering, the Detroit -1.5 line at Bet365 plus 550.
Jesus. Well, I just can't go. I can't go against Severino in this spot. I don't even have the what. So if I was to make a move on, when does this game start?
1:00 p.m. 1:10 p.m.
What would be the first half under, anyways?
Yeah, thinking about that as well. That's 4.5 or 5. So you get 4.5 plus 105 at Pinnacle, 5 minus 117 at Bookmaker. Yeah,
I can't do it. I can't pull the trigger on it. But if the wind was normal, I would do it.
I am leaning unders anyway, despite the wind. I don't think I'm going to give him as a pick here, but yeah, and it's not just because of the wind. It's also because of Verhagen. You know what I'm saying? If the wind was normal, I'd still be feeling a little bit weird about it, just because the guy comes at minor leagues, lights out for a bunch of starts, comes up in majors, first start back facing the Yankees. And it just makes me nervous. Anything can happen.
Interesting stuff. Forrest Kramer says you see Lathrop's picks. He's taking Tigers plus 1.5 on both games. I really don't believe in taking plus 1.5s on dog teams ever, personally. Let's see. Kevin K says Detroit pitcher probably going to get touched. Ziggy Ball says Yanks are not good first game after postponements. Alex Vishnevsky says Yankees put up runs. Justin Searcy wondering about the Detroit team total under 3.
Yeah, I mean the Detroit team total under 3 is interesting, obviously as well. It is 3 minus 105. First 5 innings 1.5 minus 115. That might not be a bad play. I mean, Severino's great, obviously. Would be leaning Detroit first 5 innings under 1.5 minus 115. Would be leaning first 5 innings and full game unders as well at 5 and 9.
Native Queen saying 5-2 final score, Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, Jim. I definitely would be leaning under as well here.
Yeah, I understand. I feel it. Tomor says Verhagen doesn't pitch deep. Detroit's bullpen will likely have to go 3, if not 4 innings.
Kevy K says, Kevy, early sharp report. Some sharp money on the under game 1, Yankees-Detroit. Not at all surprised about that. That's why I'll be leaning as well. Tomer says Verhagen doesn't pitch deep. Detroit's bullpen will likely have to go 3, if not 4 innings. That's scary for sure. But if you want to take the Yankees on the second half, a lot of my units have come from second half betting. Yankees are minus 270 on the second half. No way I can take that one. Yeah, lean would be to the under. Let me see. DJ Big Boss leaning under. I might throw on the under as an official pick before this show is over. We're certainly gonna have a lot of free time. Alex Vishnevsky says 9.5. You mean 8.5 on the Yanks game? Yeah, but there are 9s though. There are definitely some 9s available. Yeah. 9 all over the place. Yeah, no 9.5s, but there are definitely 9s. Yellow Jesus Severino K is over 8. What's the line? I don't know, but I do know that Jim. One thing you and the commenters on the show should think about if your bet size is relatively small, you're looking to get some easy units. Player props in MLB, especially pitcher strikeout props and stuff like that, can be a real easy way to stack some units. Think about that. Just consider. I know some people on social media who do it very, very well, and they post their screenshots of why they like it. There will be some starting pitcher with strikeout total of 4.5 or something like that, and they'll show that he's had 5, 6, 7, 6, 7 in all of his starts. They'll say this is a no-brainer play. Much more often than not, they're right. So you might be right there. Severino strikeouts over 8. Not sure what the line is, but it's definitely a possible. Let's see. Other comments. Rostradamus says, how is Detroit winning? They're playing way over their heads without Miggy and with that pen, in my opinion. Yes. Just can't take the Yankees here at that line. Okay, so what else? I guess that's about it. Let's move on to the other games. Anything from the other games that you're thinking about giving, Jim? Let me refresh my memories.
I found this tricky, and I knew that we were going to have a ton of time to break these games down, so I have not sent in any bets. There's only one thing that I'm very close to making, and that is they're hanging some 5s, at least they were this morning, on the first 5 under in the Royals-Angels game, and I have been backing Duffy the last 2 starts. It didn't work out for me last start, even though he did pitch great. And I think that the first 5 under 5 is a play that I'm interested in. I don't trust this Royals bullpen, so I don't want to take a full game. Game time temp 70 Fahrenheit, wind blowing out to left center. Royals 7-5 since May 22nd, but still being let down by this bullpen, ranked 28th out of the 30 major league teams, 5.46 ERA. Duffy 2-6, 5.71 ERA, 1.58 WHIP, but he's throwing consecutive quality starts against the Rangers and Twins, both teams that can hit lefties. Duffy 2-1 in his career against the Angels, 3.46 ERA. Tropiano pitching well, back-to-back good starts after getting lit up in Toronto. Lit up by Tampa, excuse me. He got lit up for 4 earned runs and 2 2/3 against Tampa, and then 2 starts since versus the Tigers and Jays. He's gone 12 2/3, just allowed 3 earned runs, all on solo shots with 11 Ks and 1 walk. Mr. Gogster is on the Angels second half. Royals batting 255, 708 OPS. Angels aren't hitting lefties. In fact, are they still hanging a 5?
On the first 5 innings, yeah, that was a snake bit call on Duffy in his last game. You predicted that Duffy would have a good start, and he did. You took the first half money line. Other guy, who was he going up against in that one? I forgot who it was, but Gibson or something like that.
Going 14 innings. And,
yeah. That was a great call on Duffy there, Jimmy the Bag. You did your research. Yes, the first 5 innings, 5 minus 123 is at Pinnacle.
I'm gonna take it.
You want that one, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, Jim's going to take LA Angels. First 5 innings under 5 minus 123. Under 5 minus 123, that is at Pinnacle. Game I was thinking about was Atlanta San Diego. Now Richard is a confounding guy. He's not, obviously he's very, very far from elite, but he does tend to get results one way or the other, and particularly so at home. I'm not a buyer on Tehran right now. His last bunch of starts have not been good. He's been giving up home runs. His walks are up. His strikeouts are down, and I'm not a buyer on Tehran. Tehran. Atlanta, of course, crosses country for this game, and San Diego has been cashing recently. I don't think I've been on them, but they've been their offense is picking up at home, and they are definitely on a nice winning run in their current form at home. I was thinking about first 5 innings over, San Diego first 5 innings team total over, and full game team total over to hit Tehran. Don't know if I'd want the full game over or if I'd want San Diego on the full game, but that's what I'm thinking about this game. Any thoughts, Jim?
Yeah, a ton of thoughts, and I like where you're going. And also, the Padres have won 5 of 7 on this homestand against the 2 worst teams in the National League, Marlins and Reds. So, but very interesting stuff. So first off, Anthony L, who's been on our chat, and we've loved his insight, sent me a very interesting message on Twitter about this game, and let me read it. It says, tomorrow is Clayton Richards' day. Okay. Well, I'm still sober. I want to give you some context on my fate of him, since it will probably be brought up on the show. So Anthony L is 8-3, betting first 5 team total overs against Clayton Richards this year.
Wait, I'm sorry. I was reading a comment from a Sean Robertson, which I do want to highlight. What did you say again?
Anthony L is 8-3 this year, betting first 5 team total overs against Clayton Richards.
Yes.
And it's because one of the reasons why this play works is because they're very low lines for some reason. So
for some guys,
Anthony L calls them low-key awful. Doesn't get ever blown up for 8 runs in 2 innings. Occasionally has, a 7-inning 1-run start. So he allows 3 or 4 runs in 5 or 6 innings, and he has the ability to occasionally have a good start. It keeps the market from pouncing on him to fade his first 5 totals. So he thinks this is an absolute great angle that's been succeeding for him all year, taking the first 5 team total over against Clayton Richard, and that would be a pretty easy move to make with this Atlanta Braves squad.
Yeah, my only concern is that they are traveling cross country.
Definitely.
We'll get to that in a second. One thing I did want to, I told you, Jim, that I started to watch the videos again, and there's a ton of great comments that I didn't realize I missed. One great comment was from Sean Robertson. I don't know if you caught this one. He said that he kills college baseball, and that he has a great model for that, and that he is going to give out the picks. Huge shout out to Sean Robertson. Thanks so much for doing that. And Sean Robertson just gave us a comment saying, this MLB card puts me to fucking sleep. Good morning and good night. Good luck, all cappers. I'll be back. I'm hitting the book hard. Sticking to my college baseball game of the day, Oklahoma money line -105. Should we blindly tail it, Jim?
Wow.
Oklahoma money line -105. Sean Robertson.
When does that game start?
I don't know, but I'm going to check right now. I do not follow college baseball at all, but I'm going to check it right now, and I might bet this one. Let me see what we have at let me see, where is it? I hope that game didn't already start. College baseball. Looking at it. Oh, shit, hold on. Okay, here we go. Game, here we go. Yes, Oklahoma -108 I'm seeing at Heritage right now over Mississippi State. That starts at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Sean Robertson identifies that as his college baseball play of the day. Much like with college basketball, Jim, you said that a lot of guys recently you were running with were killing women's college basketball, right? College baseball, same kind of deal for anyone who has the time and inclination to look into it. Obviously, there can be huge edges there. Should we tail it? Oklahoma -108.
When did you say it starts?
1 o'clock Eastern time. Play of the day. I'm going to tail it. How about that, Jim?
I get it.
I'm tailing it right now. I'm going to tail Oklahoma. I'm going to take it at 108 right now at Heritage. Thank you so much, Sean Robertson. I just blindly tailed Sean Robertson in college baseball. What do you think about that?
I get it. I like it.
That's what pros do, Jim. That's a pro move right there.
Hey, man, I like it, man. I love Sean Robertson. I love we got such a great group of guys we're running with. But a lot of interesting stuff coming out of this Braves-Padres action. A lot of people concerned about the Braves coming off the big series win over the Nationals,
yes,
traveling all the way over to San Diego. But let's talk about the Padres for a minute. One back-to-back series, as we've talked about, Marlins, Reds, and Richard. He's a very strange pitcher. He reminds me a lot of Holland. 3-6, 4.74 ERA, 1.31 WHIP. He's been lit up by the NL West this season, but away from the division, he's very, very good. 2.66 ERA, 0.93 WHIP. And he's been lit up by the Braves in his career, 0-6, 6.75 ERA, 17 walks in 33 and a third, and just 11 Ks. And we know the Braves smash lefties. They smash them. 278, 806 OPS. And the Padres don't smash anybody. 231, 665. I guess I can understand the concerns about the Braves, and But my instinct is that they can touch Clayton Richard. Mm-hmm. And look at the over 7.5 is plus money in some books.
Yeah. Kobe Valentine also says, I don't bet doubleheaders, and that is my inclination as well. A lot of times I will just pass on doubleheaders completely. Talking about the Yankee series. Yeah. So my leans, once again, some other interesting comments here. Tom Marino has an interesting comment here about Clayton Richard. Where is that one? About Tehran. Tom Marino says, the betting market has no respect for Tehran, but he has good numbers in big parks and great numbers against San Diego. San Diego much better against lefties. Yeah, I'm just not sure that Tehran is in good form right now. You know what I'm saying? In general. And San Diego is hitting. All right, I am going to... I'll make a play for sure. I'll make one play here. I am going to take, at the very least, San Diego, first 5 innings, team total over 2. That's plus 114 at Pinnacle. It's just Tehran could have it would not all be a surprise here if Tehran comes in and throws 5 shutout or 1-run innings. I think much more likely, not much more likely, but more likely he is going to get touched at least a little with how San Diego's hitting, and I'm willing to take it over 2 plus 114. And I would also be leaning to the first 5 innings over just 4 at plus 100. I'm just a little bit concerned about Atlanta's bats here. Of course, the team total for Clayton Richard for Atlanta here is wow, holy shit, it's 1.5, Jim. God, that's so tempting. Clayton Richard is just not a 1.5 first 5 innings team total type guy, and that's not an insult. You got to be fucking awesome to be that. You know who is that way? Severino.
Twali Latte said I did a max bet on Atlanta team total over 3.5.
I'm just worried that it's just like a down spot for them. You know what I mean? It's a Monday. They're traveling all the way across country into a park. I know that Petco isn't necessarily a pitcher-friendly park anymore. Certainly not the way that it used to be. But it's still a spacious West Coast park. You know what I mean? It's just a down spot for Atlanta. I don't like betting teams offensively in this kind of situation, you know?
Paco Healy says Atlanta going to crush. Frank Alexander leaning San Diego. Wow, that 1.5 is very tempting.
Yeah. Here we go. Sean Robertson. Love the chat is backing me. Hope I start my official record 1-0 with this chat. Feel really good about this lineup. This kid's getting 6 solid innings on the hill. Yes, thank you so much for the tip, Sean Robertson. And once again, these small markets can have the best value. Those are the best ways to sports bet, especially if your bet size is modest. The reason those markets are so much smaller and so much more beatable is because you have to know the idiosyncrasies of what you're betting, and it can be difficult to get information. Even information for WNBA can be difficult. But if you know what you're looking for, you know where to find the information that you need, and you know the idiosyncrasies of the market, you can have a great edge over these kinds of markets. College baseball, classic example of that.
Yeah, and I'm very interested. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on Sean and what he's doing here with.
In fact, in the post-game tweet, I will mention that. That's one thing that I'm going to mention. I'm going to start tweeting out a post-game summary or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like a post-game tweet talking about the salient things that we talked about in the show, anything that's interesting, anything that was funny, and I think that's one thing worth mentioning, right, Jim?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. Although it will come out after the game started, but that's fine. It's not. It's a tweet about what we did in the show today. All right, Jim.
Two totally different things here from Trevor Andrews and Tomar. Trevor Andrews says Padres lock. Says the odds moving over under scream San Diego, and then Tomar says Richard's last 3 home starts have been good. I don't trust Atlanta here. So sorry, I mean, these guys are saying the same sort of thing. Yeah. They're saying enough for me to stay off of the Atlanta overs. Yeah. And they seem, when you just quickly look at it, it does look so appealing.
To take what?
The overs.
Yes, it does. It does. It definitely does. It definitely does. And I did take one of the first 5 inning team totals over. I did take San Diego, and the full game for San Diego is, oh God, they're just begging me to take San Diego here. 3.5 minus 107. They're just begging me, Jim.
But the Braves are a team that smashes lefties.
Yes, they are, in theory. But this is a down spot for them. Yeah. Well, overall, I should say.
Yeah,
I feel like this is a down spot for them. All right, so once again, Jim's given Angels first 5 innings under 5 minus 123. I have given San Diego first 5 innings team total over 2 plus 114. And the second Yankees Detroit game, Herman against Fires. Fires, I think, is probably going to get hit. You know what I'm saying? He looks at, and Herman is a very, 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 very interesting guy, Jimmy the Bag. Of course, you remember when his first start, it was like a 6-inning no-hitter or something like that. Then his next few starts were off. Herman is a guy with elite level stuff. He has problems with his command, but I don't think we've seen the last of Herman's flirting with no-hitters. We've also not seen the last of him, giving up 6 runs in 5 innings. You know what I'm saying? High volatility with Herman here, and I'm thinking that the Yankees actually, this is a game where the Yankees just to hit fires might be a good play. Thinking about Yankees team total overs on this one. Like as Tom Marino said, I tend not to like to bet doubleheaders, and on second games of doubleheaders, I almost never bet them until I know the lineups for the second.
Yeah, I think if we're going to make a play on this game, it's best to wait. I liked Herman's start on Memorial Day against a very tough Astros lineup.
Yeah.
2 earned runs, 5 hits, 5 2/3. He's 41 Ks and 34 2/3. He's got stuff that I like. I like fading fires. Winless in his last 3 outings, but he did hold the Angels to 1 run on 7 hits and 5 2/3. This Angels lineup is not hitting, and it's deceptive when you see a pitcher have a good start against him. I think right now he did surrender 5 earned runs on 8 hits over 5 2/3 when he faced the Yankees on April 13th. He's 0-1 with a 6.20 ERA in 4 career starts against the Yankees. I agree with you. I'm going to see what goes on in this first game, take a look at the lineups, and possibly make a play on this once I have more information.
Kevy K says, guys, Tropiano and Duffy have have bad fly ball and hard contact numbers. But Jim, you looked into Duffy, and you're a vague believer in Duffy right now.
I am. I just think that that we can get value off of people just looking at Duffy's numbers and fading him. I do. And his velocity is fine for a lefty. I mean, he's still throwing 93.5 miles an hour. Tropiano, I think is some smoke and mirrors. But I think that this game can be a nice first 5 spot for me, and I do trust Tropiano and Duffy enough. Now, Tropiano, the one time I did trust him, it blew up in my face, against the Rays. But do you feel like my under 5 is a uncomfortable spot?
Is it uncomfortable? I wouldn't go that far. It feels a little. I have no real opinion. It feels a little coin flippy to me. You might be on the right side here. I have to look into Duffy a little bit more, but clearly you had a great call on Duffy in his recent starts, and I
just think the Angels are weak offensively, much weaker than their star-studded lineup makes them look, and they're bad against lefties. 223, 686 OPS. Royals are not hitting very well. They're hitting an okay average. They got John Jays in their lineup who are getting tons of hits, but nothing for any power. 255 batting average, 708 OPS. That's hard to do. Yeah. That's hard to have such a low OPS with a batting average over 250.
Well, since you made the pick, the line has already moved 5 cents in your favor. It's now minus 128 at Pinnacle, so that's a good sign there. All right, so once again, we will review the 4 evening games in the evening show. I'll make a decision on fading Richard here. Maybe I'll throw on Atlanta first 5 team total over. More likely, I'll throw on the first 5 innings over at 4, plus 100. Kobe Valentine says he's liking San Diego. Jim's on the Angels first 5 innings under, and I'm on the San Diego first 5 innings team total over 2 plus 114. We didn't talk about the Arizona My God, Jimmy the Bag. We have 5 games on the card tonight. I was about to move on without one of the games we talked about. Arizona, San Francisco, Godley against Holland. 2 starting pitchers who are vulnerable, but both coming off of decent starts.
Yeah.
What do we make of this matchup?
This is another tricky one. Wind's blowing out very strong towards center, and both teams are coming off sweeps. D-backs swept the Marlins. Giants got a big sweep over the Phillies this past weekend. Godley 5-4, 4.38 ERA, 1.54 WHIP, 31 walks. First ever appearance at ATT in Park. Godley held the Giants scoreless over 7 innings, and it was against Holland. It was a 2-1 win in April. Holland was matched up against him. He gave up a first-inning triple to Goldschmidt, and then that was it. It led to 2 runs they scored in 6 innings, and he pitched well. Godley 2-1 overall in his career against the Giants, 4.67 ERA. Holland 3-6, 4.94 ERA, 1.32 WHIP. The Diamondbacks are hitting lefties. It's amazing. Their offense has been bad all year, but somehow they're hitting lefties, which is something they didn't do last year. And the Giants are batting 262 with a 732 OPS. This is another tricky spot. Tomor says Holland struggled in his last 2 starts, but against teams that have lineups that can hit lefties, Arizona is hitting now. This is a tough spot. I didn't have a play coming in here. Kevin K says Godley an extreme ground ball pitcher and Holland fly ball pitcher. Mali Ma leaning towards the D-backs. Alex Vishnevsky saying Holland in this spot is nice.
Really? See, I was leaning Arizona here on the first 5 innings and maybe full game, and leaning first 5 innings over. I think Holland is going to struggle a little bit. Holland, he's a guy who I don't even think Holland in most spots should be a 2 on the first 5 inning team total overs. I think he should be a 2.5. You know what I'm saying, Jim? And I am, just give me 1 second here. Am I willing to put my money where my mouth is on Holland? I think I am. I'm going to take the first 5 innings team total over for San Francisco. If Holland comes in here and shuts and has a 5 inning start where he gives up 1 or 0 runs, tip my hat to him, and I'll eat the loss, and I will do that one. I will take Arizona. Yeah, I will take Arizona. First 5 innings, team total over 2 at plus 110.
A lot of guys liking it. Todd Raymond says over is my play. Good to be on the same side as Todd Raymond.
Yeah.
Steve on over 7.5. Twatty Latte on Arizona first 5 over as well.
I would lean that way as well.
Mr. Gokster also team total over Arizona.
Yes.
Melvin Morel full game over Arizona.
Yes, I would lean that one. And Arizona, just like the San Diego line, team total over on the full game is just 3.5. So I'm definitely going to add on Arizona first 5 innings, team total over 2 plus 110, and definitely have leans, as with the San Diego game, to the first 5 innings over, as well as the Arizona team total over on the game in general. And then maybe a slight lean to San Francisco on the second half, but it's just plus 100, so I don't necessarily want to take them. But I will, for now, throw on that second play. And once again, in the evening show, 6 o'clock Eastern time, we will review these games again, and I might convert 1 or 2 or all of my leans to official plays. As of right now, I just have 2. If you'd like to sign up with UWager, please use the link in the description box below this video. That's right, the link in the description box below this video. That's right, for uwager.com. That's right, if you'd like to sign up, please use that link. All right, Jimmy the Bag, anything else for MLB you want to add?
Yeah, I like your Arizona first 5 team total over 2. I feel like I want to tell. I feel like they're gonna get on the board. So
yeah,
getting 2 for a push is fine, and getting a plus line if they go over 2 sounds pretty nice to me.
Once again, there are no locks, and if it loses, I will be fine with eating a loss on that one. So you want that one, Jim? First half, team total over 2 plus 110. Arizona, first 5 innings.
I do.
All right. What else do we have? Justin Searcy says San Francisco has money at home. Kobe Valentine predicts a 5-4 Arizona score. Okay, so he's leaning over as well. Mally Mal says this card screams negative regression today. Take uncomfortable bets. Interesting. Let's see. We have someone, Tomorino Tomor, said native queen. Good point. I want to find that good point right there. Okay, it's not a pick. It's about whether they would rather make OT or lose or never make it. Okay, interesting stuff. And people are debating psychological issues with sports performance. JK says Godley walks while Holland has been decent. Zono might get some hits after he's done. Okay.
What is the full game over in this
Arizona game? Yeah. About 7.5.
That's a full game over?
Mm-hmm.
I find that very appealing.
Yeah, I might throw on the first half over as well, and wouldn't disagree with someone who's liking the full game over.
And what's the first 5?
4.
I'm going to lock down the full game over right now.
You want that one, huh? Okay, Mr. Gokster liking the Angels second half. Let me just quickly check what that line would be. The Angels second half, minus 120, 119 at Bookmaker. That's an interesting call there. I'll think about that. All right, Jim, want the
Ralph Portuando disagrees. I do not like being on the other side of Ralph Portuando at all.
For what? For the San Francisco game?
Yeah, he likes the under 8.
Well, there's no 8s anymore. It's 7.5. It did open at 8. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. My sense is that I would rather have the first 5 innings over on this one. I would have a vague lean to the second half under, and I would have taken it if it was 3.5, but it's 3 plus 100, so I'm not going to take it.
I think 7.5 is attainable. I'm taking it.
You want it? Kobe Valentine agrees. He predicts a 5-4 game. You want that one, Jim?
Yes,
huh?
I do.
All right, San Francisco over 7.5 minus 105 at Pinnacle. Over 7.5 minus 105 at Pinnacle. All right, are we finally done with MLB here, Jim?
Yes, we are.
All right, we'll be back at 6 o'clock Eastern time. We'll review the last 4 games on the card, and I will maybe convert some of my many leans on these games to official picks. Now let's move on to the NHL game tonight. Jimmy the Bag, you nailed the under in game 3. You nailed Washington in game 2, right? So those were the only picks on those 2 games, right?
Right.
So Jimmy the Bag on a 2-game winning streak in the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. Now we got Game 4.
Oh no, I had the goal in the first 9.5 minutes.
That was game 1.
No, that was game
Was it?
2. That was game 2. And unfortunately, in games 1 and 2, I actually went 50-50. Unfortunately, and then went 1-0 in game 3.
Okay. I'll bring up your record right here. Before we get into this game, though, we will throw up the NHL record. Jim's NHL record in the regular season was great. It's still overall great, and I, of course, am up over 30 units in NHL. I don't know how this is happening. I'm up 30 units in NHL, 30 units in MLB, up a couple units in a WNBA, up a couple units in MMA. Basically up in everything except NBA, which is par for the course for me. All right, Jimmy the Bag, you did nail a game. Yeah, that's right. I'm saying the no score in 30 seconds. That was for a game 2.
And I thought that I felt like that was the right play, and then it scared me off taking it in game 3, which was a mistake. When I knew game 3 and games 4 were going to be lower, I felt like games 3 and games 4 were going to be much tighter scoring than in Vegas, and I was scared off to take in the first 9.5 minutes because it screwed me in game 2, and it was a fluke that it screwed me. It was a fluke that Neil got that breakaway. It was just an unlucky bounce or whatever. It wasn't a fluke that Neil put it in the top corner. But in saying all that, I think that it's going to be another low-scoring game. I also think that the Capitals are going to win this game. The Knights have lost consecutive games for the first time in the playoffs. There's so many things we were talking about that were so crucially important, and one of them was Kuznetsov. And that was the reason why I was afraid to take the Caps. I wanted to see if Kuznetsov could take faceoffs. I wanted to see if he was even going to be in the lineup. His return was enormous. He scored a goal and an assist. He played 18 minutes and 52 seconds, and he won 5 of 7 faceoffs. The one time that the Knights looked susceptible this year during the season was during the playoffs, was when Haula wasn't winning any faceoffs. So because he's on that Neil and Perron line, their second unit, and he did it again. They were on for all 3 goals against, and Haula went 3-4-9 on faceoffs. Washington defense has been very good. It's changing the series. They limited the Vegas to just 22 shots on goal in game 3. We talked all about it after game 1. We talked all about how they have to change their defensive positioning in their own zone, and that would stop some of the offense that Vegas was getting. Vegas was getting offense through almost passes off of Holtby's pads, and they were getting all this offense from behind the goal line. And so we talked about how they had to collapse in front of the goal, and completely take the slot away, because that's where all of the offense was coming through rebounds and through plays behind the red line and the goal line. And that's exactly what they've been doing, and it's working. So will it continue to work every time this Vegas Knights team has faced any adversity? They've stepped up as the heart and soul character squad that they are. And some notes from what they said. James Neal said, it's been said all year, we know what we have in this room and we stick together. We got each other. We'll pick each other up, focus on the next one. We'll have our best game of the year and tie it up. I love him saying that. Gerard Gallant said, in 3 games, we haven't been good enough. If we don't step up our game, the same result's going to happen tomorrow night. So we'll see what we're made of. Now, what they're made of is not, it's just not, look, I expect them to step up, but man, Carlson did not have a shot on goal in game 3. He did not even attempt a shot on goal. That's unacceptable from your first line centerman. He's got to be called out by Gallant, and I'm sure he is behind closed doors. Riley Smith did not have a shot on goal. Your first line can't be doing that. Now, Marchessault is an awesome hockey player, and he had 4 shots on goal, but still, that's just not enough. The Capitals are rolling every line. This is the first time they've played against a team that's doing exactly what they're doing. In fact, no one played less than 10 minutes in game 3 on the Capitals, and the Knights had 2 guys who played less than 10 minutes. So they're getting some of their own medicine, and it's working. And Ovechkin is doing everything: goals, assists, hits, blocked shots. So, I've been thinking a lot about why I've got this, and you guys have seen it. I don't want Vegas to win the cup. And when I say that to people, they think that's it's bullshit, because here's this Vegas team of cast-offs from other teams, and that's team you should believe in. And I agree. I love that this group of guys that weren't protected by their own team have come together and been magical. And I been what is it? What is it with me? Why is it? And then I realized clearly what it is this weekend. Very intoxicated. It's because the Canucks have played 47 seasons and haven't won a Stanley Cup.
It's not fair.
It's just not fair.
It's just not fair.
And I know that life's not fair.
Yes.
But now the Knights are playing against a team that hasn't won the Stanley Cup, and now they're in their 44th season.
It shouldn't be that unfair. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so it's not, and it's, Vegas has gone through a tough year, the city, and I like that this team has picked them up, but I'm just a fucking baby, I guess. I guess I'm a fucking bitch, and I don't want you guys to win a cup when I have not won a cup in my lifetime. And I just don't think it's fucking fair. And that's probably me just being a bitch. And I get it. So I'm on the Capitals. I'm on the under.
Okay. And what about the first period under? The first game, last game, first period had no score. I haven't had great success in the Stanley Cup Finals with my first period unders. But do you expect another low-scoring game, or do you think the strategy will change up so that there will be scoring early?
My expectation of this series is to take the under in the Capitals in Game 4, and then in Game 5, take the over in the Vegas Knights, Golden Knights team total over.
All right, so you want Washington on the money line?
I do.
Minus 124 is the line at Pinnacle, and you also want the under. Some people were saying that they still, again, like the under here. 5.5 at minus 121. Minus 121 at Bet Online, minus 121. Washington under 5.5, minus 121. You want that one?
I do. Now, do you think that late money is going to come on the Knights and I'm going to get a better record?
I have no idea where the money's going to come on. No, I think that that the money will probably be even. If anything, I think there might be a little bit more money that will come in on the under. I think that probably when we're sitting here at 6 o'clock, the best line on the under will be like minus 128 or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not against doing this here and now.
And do we expect any kind of strategic changes that will cause there to be more scoring than expected early?
Yeah, sure. Dragolant can make some changes. There's no doubt about it. Native Queen saying, for your information, Vegas' first NHL team was the Las Vegas Gamblers. What are you talking about?
I don't know. But Jim, what do you think about first period under?
There was the Wranglers. Sorry, Native Queen. Can you give us more information? I've never heard of this.
Mal predicts money will come in on Vegas. David Barraza says public will be on Vegas probably.
Probably, yeah. That's why I think I might. But
so will the lineup changes for Vegas affect scoring early, or will it be tight again?
The only way the Capitals win is by playing exactly the way they played in games 3 and 2. You can't. Vegas is going to keep coming at you, and Holtby looks susceptible playing the puck. He looks susceptible giving out rebounds. So what I expect is that that the only way the Caps win is they play very, very defensive. They have to play very defensive and then pounce on odd man rushes, and they have just the lineup to do that with Kuznetsov, with Ovechkin. So if the Capitals go in an offensive battle against Vegas, who knows? Close your eyes. Who knows who's going to win the game? But if they stay in a very tight box and collapse towards the net and completely take out the slot for Vegas, then I think they can win this game.
Okay. Well, let's see. Let me see where are these comments coming in? Where the hell is it? Oh God, I just had a bunch of comments that I was going to read. People mostly agreeing with you on this game. Where the hell is it? Yeah, Buddy Bills 357 likes Caps puck line and the under. Caps puck line at the under. DJ Big Boss has taken the over in the NHL tonight. Okay, DJ Big Boss going against the people leaning under. More people are definitely leaning under on this one. Paco Healy says Vegas is a huge play tonight. Ziggy Ball says I don't think Vegas loses 3 straight. Kobe Valentine also liking Washington puck line and the under. Kobe Valentine predicts the score. Washington wins 3-1.
Yeah, I think if you're going to take Vegas,
take the over.
Yes.
Because
the Capitals are going to play tighter than they've ever played in their whole lives. They're going to be so defensively responsible. Ovechkin knows they win this game, they are likely to win the cup. And if they lose this game, they are likely to lose the Stanley Cup. This is everything, and they got the right players. They have the right players to play this very tight defensive style, and I think that's the only way to beat Vegas. We've seen this Vegas team, erupt offensively. We've seen this Vegas team handle adversity better than maybe any team we've ever seen before. So yeah, my plan is to take to score with and I might even add in a couple more on this, but to take the Capitals and the under in game 4, and then not take a side in game 5. Just take the over and the Vegas Knights team total over, and that's my plan moving forward, and we'll see how it works.
All right, Ken Peacock saying under 5.5, leaning Caps are home advantage. So let's see. David Barraza says Caps are more deep. Kevy K predicts a score of 3-1. So more people than not are definitely leaning Caps and the under here. Although a few people are saying that they like Vegas, and a few people, really only one, DJ Big Boss, saying that they are liking the over, but many more people liking the Caps and the under, and that is what Jimmy's going on. Jimmy is taking Washington money line -124 and the under 5.5 at -121, and I guess that's about it. Let's move on.
With just one more thing, what I think will happen gambling wise is that public money will come in on Vegas, but some big sharp money I think will come in on the Washington. I really think some big bets, because I mean, watching this series, this is to me, this is a game 4 win for Washington. It's the biggest game of Ovechkin's life, and they're blocking shots and they're collapsing in front of the net. They're not allowing Vegas to do what they've been doing against other teams. Now, it's not that simple. Obviously, other teams have tried to do this against Vegas, but it seems like the Capitals have the right personnel to pull this off, because they've got John Carlson as the offensive defenseman, and then they got guys like Niskanen and Orpik, who've been through the wars and know how to clear the front of the net and won't take any chances offensively. Then you got forwards like Devontae Smith-Pelly, you got Tom Wilson, you got big tough forwards that can throw the body around, and something's wrong. Maybe after the series is over, Carlson will say something's wrong with them and stuff like that. Okay. But I like this spot.
All right, Mr. Gogster 99 says I'm taking first period over -105. Yeah, I'm starting to feel more and more nervous. I was thinking about the first period under, but now I'm definitely not. And Mr. Gogster liking the first period over. And Jay Yim says missed most of the show. Can you guys recap the MLB card? Thanks. Yes, we're not going to recap the analysis, but here are the picks. I have given Arizona first 5 innings, team total over 2 +110, and San Diego first 5 innings, team total over 2 +114. Jim joined me on Arizona first 5 innings, team total over 2 +110. Jim is also on the Angels first half under 5 -123. Angels and KC first half under 5 -123, and that is it. Those are the only MLB plays we gave. I'm leaning the San Diego game first 5 innings over 4, leaning the San Francisco game first 5 innings over 4, but I'm going to hold off on both of those for now. It's a small card, and that's it for the MLB card. All right, Jim, that's about it for
It is. I found out what Native Queen was talking about. She was talking about from 68 to 1995 in the Pacific Southwest Hockey League, a senior amateur hockey league. There was a team called the Las Vegas Gamblers. That's very far away from the NHL.
All right, now we do have about 10 minutes here. We can do a Q&A. If people have any questions, shout them out. People seem to be really excited for this. Juan Juarez says, good morning, y'all. Yeah, Pete, story time. Adam Lopez says, Pete, story time. I want at least 2 great stories that you've been holding out on. I don't really hold anything. I mean, I can't share all the stories for various reasons, but I'm not really holding anything out from anyone. I just we're always crunched for time in the sports betting season, so there's just not a whole lot of opportunity to do a little story time. You know what I'm saying? But I'm certainly not holding out. I certainly can't answer everything for various obvious reasons. But whatever, and I certainly I will never lie, but I will not answer everything. You know what I'm saying? There's some things that I will say, I cannot answer that for various obvious reasons, right? You know what I'm saying, Jim?
Sure.
Yeah.
Von Polo says, who will win the Belmont? Answer that question. Well, I'm almost certain. I've been working on it for 2 weeks. I'm almost certain I know what my bet is going to be. But in horse racing, a lot can change in 72 hours with just how a horse is feeling and how a horse looks on the track. So I'm not going to make my prediction now. But if you want to know who are the horses that I'm very, very high on, it is Tenfold and Blended Citizen. and they will be involved in my action.
-110 Nostratota says, Pete, what is the first bet you ever made? Thanks. I actually do remember that. I do remember this, believe it or not, Jim. It was in high school. We were very young. Now, this was a long time ago when it was easier for kids to do things they weren't supposed to do. But it was at the horse track. We went to the horse track. I was with my best friend at the time. He had a car. I didn't have a car. He was one of the most people from New York City don't have cars, but he was one of the guys who did. Like his parents had a car or something like that. And we drove to the horse track, and we had like 40 bucks or whatever. Seemed like a lot at the time. You'll like this, Jim. It was very much out of a let it ride. I don't remember how we were handicapping or whatever. Well, this wasn't necessarily the actual first bet that I made, but it was the first day of betting that we did. We went to the horse track, and I don't remember how we were thinking about what we were doing, but somehow we got it into our heads that there was an exacta that we really wanted to bet. So being an inexperienced horse bettor, and I was supposed to go make the bet. We wanted to bet like I forgot what it was, like $4 or $8 or something like that on it. But being the inexperienced bettor that I was, I wound up betting, I think it was 2 or 3 times what I was supposed to bet on this huge underdog exacta at the Meadowlands. And I was like, oh shit, I bet way more than we were supposed to. So we were sitting there with this exacta bet. Give you one guess, Jimmy the Bag, what happened to that exacta?
It hit?
It fucking hit.
Oh
It fucking
God.
hit. So unbelievable. So all of a sudden, we had turned our 40 bucks into like 300 or something like that. Then my other friend, who was a little bit more adventurous than I was at the time, and wound up being way more into gambling to start, suggested we go to Atlantic City. So we did go to Atlantic City. We went to Atlantic City. We took all our money. We exchanged it for chips. We were hanging out doing whatever the hell we did. I don't know.
How much cash did you guys get on that exacta? Can you remember?
I mean,
it had to be a few hundred.
yes.
Yeah.
And now a few $100s. Now, a few $100 for me now is still a hell of a lot of money, okay? But it's not quite as much money as it was for me at the time. You know what I'm saying? Because I grew up kind of poor. You know what I'm saying, Jim? Not poor, but like, my mom was a fucking crazy, whacked out teacher with 2 kids, single mom. You know what I'm saying? So, lower middle class or whatever. And it was a lot of money at the time for me, Jim.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So then, story's not over. So then we went to Atlantic City, and then we changed it all for chips. And my friend was trying to have a good time. Wherever he was like, hey, let's go onto the beach in Atlantic City. So we went onto the beach with all of our chips. We were sitting there again. I don't know what the hell we did there. We were sitting on the beach doing whatever. Then we're like, all right, let's go back inside. And they said, you guys are underage. We can't let you in. So we were sitting there with like a bucket full of like $400 in chips and no money at all between the two of us. Couldn't get inside, $0 and $400 in these worthless chips. And that just shows you how currency works. It's like, you have these chips. Inside, it's worth a whole lot. You can do a lot of shit. Outside, the exact same chips, worth $0, worth absolutely nothing. Took us like an hour to somehow get. I don't remember how we got back in.
Them. Oh, you
yeah,
did
like
get back in.
somehow we. But it took us a long time because I don't know how we got in the first time, but the second time the guy was like, and then we have this, but we have all these chips, and the guy was like, sorry, and so we had to we were wandering around Atlantic City at night with no money, $400 in chips. And trying to get back into the casino. Somehow we did and got our money and lost it all and then left.
That's
so
wild.
we wound up leaving with no money anyway, which is another life lesson, right? The chips were worth $400 inside. The chips were worth absolutely nothing outside. Then we finally got back in. We thought we were golden. Bam, lost it all anyway. Not me. It was my friend. My friend had a little bit of a compulsion. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So and in fact, when we were leaving, he was like, Pete, let's go back. I have my credit card. Let's go back and let's take more money out. And I was like, no. We're leaving. So in the end, it was a fun day. Overall, we broke even because, we brought our money there. We left with nothing, but we did get some food out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So overall, we broke even, had a fun time, had an adventure. You know what I'm saying? Lost a little bit of money, but I mean, like when you go and see Justin Timberlake and you have a good time, other people would say, wow, you spent $100 to see Justin Timberlake. You lost $100. But from your perspective, you're like, no, I had a great time. I didn't lose $100. I'm down $100 and I exchanged it for a great time. And that's what happened with us.
Wow.
Was that an okay story?
That was a great story.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm flooded with horse track stories.
Was that too long? Do you
No.
think people found that vaguely interesting?
For sure. It's wild. I mean, that was your first big bet.
Yeah, and it was crazy. It was an accident. It was supposed to be like a $2 or $4 parlay. I wound up betting way more than I should have. We shouldn't have been betting the parlay anyway. Juan Juarez says, great story. Thank you so much, Juan Juarez.
Let's see. Let's see. We have other questions. Big Boss asking any special events during the IFBC function in Vegas. Yeah, we're working on that, and we're gonna have a couple events that are just low baggers, low bag events too, which is gonna be so much.
And
fun.
we're supposed to be doing live Loshak in the Bag shows from Vegas. Is that really gonna happen?
And so that's gonna happen, and then we'll need some of the guys who are there. We're gonna get them up, interview.
Oh, very, very nice. Yeah. Awesome. Who knows what's going to happen? Live Loshak in the Bag shows from Vegas. Let's see. Any comments for Jim? Anyone have a comment for Jim or Miss J says, Pete Loshak, what was your best pick you ever made that changed your life? I don't know, but one does come to mind. One does come to mind. I wish I could remember the exact bet. But when I had a friend from Wall Street. I won't name his name or tell the story because people know him. But I had a friend from Wall Street, and that was when I first started to get involved with sports betting full time. And I wasn't actually trying to convince him to go in with me. It was just that I forgot what happened. I was just asking him about just in general the way the people taking investors was structured, whatever. And he became more and more interested, so I started sending him plays. Now back then, sports betting was the lines were softer, right? And when I first started, I was particularly good at college basketball. The lines were much softer at Pinnacle, right? Full games, second halves of totals, and everything. And so I was sending this guy, all my opinions and picks and this and that. And I was doing very well with college basketball second halves at the time. And we were deciding what we wanted to do, and I remember there was one time where I sent him one particular pick. It was a second half play in college basketball. I explained to him exactly why I liked it, and I sent it to him. It cashed, and then right after I sent it to him, and right after it cashed, he sent me back an email saying, "Okay, I've seen enough. We're going to Vegas next week." And that was that was when I started to do it full time, and that was years and years ago. Yeah, but so Miss J, I do remember that. Actually. It was not that was the one play that changed my life, but that's the one play that jumps out at me. It was a second half play in college basketball. I wish I could remember the teams. I can't remember it, but it was the last play that I sent to this guy before he sent me back the email saying, "I've seen enough, and we're going to Vegas next week." And then we went to Vegas next week. And then that was the start of and then some horrifically bad things happened over the next 15 years or so. But that was definitely changed my life for the better or for worse. I don't know, but it was definitely a change. I'll tell you that much.
I like that. Remy, our man Jeremy Patterson says had a question above that I missed. I went and found. He said, "What are your living arrangements?"
What are my living arrangements? What are my living arrangements?
For example, Jim lives in a one-bedroom apartment. Pete rents out a garage. He's not sure what's going on. Yeah. You heard about your treehouse?
Jimmy, my living arrangements?
Yeah, I mean, I got an apartment. I was in a hotel from the first little while I was down here. I didn't know if I was actually if this was gonna work. I've had 2018's not been a very good run for me. But when I came down here, my October, November, December were very hot, and that allowed me to stick around. I'm sure if I had been losing nonstop when I first came down here, I would have been gone. But then, so I got the hotel. I made some deals with the hotel. I got the hotel for cheap, and they wouldn't clean my room. That was the deal. They had no cleaning service, but that was a great deal, man. I negotiaciones.
I'm not cutting up, but I want to get to a comment from JK. Sure. JK, don't go anywhere. We're going to address your comment after Jim is done with the story. Go. Go.
Yeah, so I after a while, after I got my shit together down here, I got a pretty not a bad little spot, not too far from here. We're up on a hill. I walk past a horse and a goat every time I come to work. Very nice female horse, very nice filly. She's a mare. She's an old white horse, and then a white goat. And I live at the bottom of the hill, man. And I got a pool, and it's all good. That's where I live.
Okay, great. Now here we go. First of all, Miss J says, "LOL, love this show." Miss J, LOL, we love you. LOL. All right. JK says, Pete, is it true that you've never driven a car? Yes, that is absolutely true. But here's the comment. JK says, at Jimmy the Bag, I'm a TV comedy writer in LA. Jimmy, did you do a lot of stand-up and open mics before you moved to SBR? What's your background in that? Before you go, JK, let me just address you. JK, hook me up. Put me in the show. Hook me up, JK. I'm funny. I can be funny. I can do everything. I can work blue. I can work clean, right? I can do slapstick. I can do political. political. I can do sex jokes. I can do a social commentary. Whatever you need, JK. Hook me up. I'm funny. Hook me up in a show. Put me up in a show. JK, please. Right?
Right.
Jim's like, that was making me cringe. This is never gonna. All right, Jim.
No. Pete's a funny guy on the show, man. I'm a straight man. I was a comic. It was a different life ago. Feels like a different life ago, but that's all I've done in my life. This is my first job that I've ever had. I've only just gambled and done stand-up.
That is a good question. Like, how do you get started? Like, how do you get started doing stand-up? You just like go to a comedy club and you're like, hey, I'm funny. And they look at you and they're like, okay, I believe you. And they throw you up there. Or what do you do?
No, usually something tragic in your life has happened generally for almost all of us. And then you write out, you do. If you can go to like your comedy club's open mic night, it's sort of a mistake.
Right. Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
Open mic nights seem like absolute friggin' hell. It seems like it seems like even worse than fucking taking comedy classes or something. Would Chris Rock or any of those people ever do an open mic night?
Yeah, you do it to work on your new material, right? Because you're in a different club every weekend, and you come. If the clubs like you come back in 9 months or a year, and you need to have new material for them. And you don't want to work that new material out on a Friday, Saturday night when you're getting paid. You have to work it out at an open mic night when no one gives a fuck. So the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays are very important for a comic because you got to work on your new material in a no pressure situation where you get drunk and just. And
but
then
is there an audience? Is people in the crowd?
It doesn't even matter if there's 5 people in the crowd because you have comics in the back, your friends who are watching you and helping you tag and helping you tighten up your jokes.
Interesting.
It's always about, the less amount of words possible to a punchline, right? And then punchline, tag. So it's a process that you have to go through, and you need these nights, open mic nights, where no one gives a fuck so that you can work everything out, And then, so like when you're writing stand-up material at home, if you write, let's say, like a paragraph, it's just not set up for stand-up. You have to underline the punchlines, know when the punchline is going to happen. And then after each punchline, they need more punchlines, which we call tags, and tag. So like one of my best friends, Brent Budd, is a great comic in Canada. And I always used his, one of his jokes as an example of how to write stand-up comedy, because you need to get that laugh every 7 seconds. No one wants to hear your setup. It's got to be punchline, tag.
Wow, there's a whole science to this.
Of course. And so Brent Budd had a bit where he said, I found a pair of underwear on the street. So that was it. That was his setup. It took 7 or 8 words, and then it's punchline, tag. He's getting a laugh every 7 seconds after taking 7 seconds to set up the laugh, So
I don't know how I feel about this. Did George Carlin do shit like this? I think George Carlin just thought of like awesome things to say and just said it. This is totally like a science here.
And George Carlin went to shitty open mic nights and open mic music nights to work out his stuff, and then he went and then he worked them out in comedy clubs. And now when George Carlin, 20 or 30 years into it, he didn't need to work it out in open mic night. He was just a brilliant comedian. He could work it out on Friday, Saturday nights, because when you have people paying big money to come see you, they believe in you. Right? They will let you work new stuff out.
Oh, yeah. That I understand. I understand.
And so, I mean, that's a big, so he could figure stuff out. But I mean, yeah, like when I was living in LA, when Chris Rock hosted the Oscars. And so I was at the Improv every night, just a young comic watching it. And Chris Rock would come in and he would run his set. He would work a set every single night. We watched Chris Rock every single night, work out his Oscar set, practice the jokes, work on them, tweak them, work on them every single night. He was there every single night. Chris Rock and these guys like Chris Rock, Chappelle, they work harder than every other comic too. They're in the open mic nights now. Chappelle's in New York, he's got a club that he hangs out with all the time, the Comedy Cellar in New York. And then, he's working out every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They're working on their new stuff. And it doesn't matter what the audience thinks of it because they're recording it. And he's got his buddies in the back listening and tightening it up and giving them tags.
Shit. Wow. Yeah, I had no idea about any of this. I thought they just kind of like thought of some funny shit. Martin Lawrence did shit like that? I can't. Martin Lawrence sitting there going punchline, tag. No way.
Of course.
Really?
Martin Lawrence, all those guys, man. When I was I did the Comedy Store from Sunday night to Thursday night, and Eddie Griffin would walk into the club, and all of the other comics would leave.
Why?
I didn't know. I was like, "What's going on?" And then Mikey, the guy who used to kind of run it for Mitzi Shore, Mikey was like, you want to go on next? I was like, fuck yeah, I want to go on after Eddie Griffin. And then Eddie Griffin did 2.5 hours. And I realized why everyone left, because no one else was going to perform that night, because Eddie Griffin was going to go on until the night was over. And so there was 19 people when Eddie Griffin said goodnight, and 15 of them got up, and 4 of them were still there for when I went on, you know. But Eddie Griffin was there all the night, working it out.
Cat Williams does punchline, tag, connector, all that shit. He does all the science.
Cat Williams all fucked up. I can't speak for Cat Williams.
I'm saying when he started out,
of course he was
sitting there with a fucking spreadsheet talking about like
no one uses spreadsheet. Actually,
whatever.
there's a couple of comments, but no, they have their pad of paper like that,
and they're like punchline, tag, seconds, intro, catcher, connector.
They record all their sets. And then they come home and they listen to it, but they've already taken notes. As soon as you're done your set, you go to the back with your boys, and they say, this worked, this didn't work, I had this. You write down all the notes, and then you go home and you listen to it back, and then you make notes, and then you fix it the next day. And in places like L.A., New York, you can get on 4 or 5 times a week. In London, England's now the center of stand-up. In London, England, you can do 7 or 8 shows. You hire a cabbie to take you from show to show to show. In London, England, it's only 20-minute spots, right? There's no... In North America, the headliners do over an hour. In England, it's just 20-minute spots. Every comic does 20-minute spots. So you can do a whole bunch of shows, work your shit out.
Well, I don't know if the audience, if the viewers of the show right now are thinking this is interesting, but I'm thinking this is fascinating as hell. I was not expecting this segment of the show to be as interesting as it was. Maybe we should try to find time to... We'll do it in the afternoon as well. We'll have a quick Q&A in the afternoon show as well, Jim. It's amazing. Sure. What a life you had.
Yeah, no, I'm thankful.
Such insights into the way comedy actually, because from my eye, and I'm sure for most people's eye, it's just like these guys are sitting around on their couch one day, they start saying a lot of funny shit, their friends are laughing, and then they're like, this is funny, I'm going to go on a stage and say it. They do it, and then they become famous. I had no idea there's this whole science, and they're taking notes, and Chris Rock is going practicing his shit in front of, small audiences 4 nights a week. I had no idea about any of that.
It's the most exciting thing for young comics is when a star comes in and you see that the same process they're doing is what you're doing. There's no difference. Like Seinfeld did the documentary on it, right? He's doing the exact same shit. He's working on stuff and he's sitting with his
Seinfeld I can understand because he's like an uptight, nerdy guy. That I believe.
No, it's all the same, man. Seinfeld's observational comic, so his stuff is very intricate with just little word movements,
Well, because he's super uptight and nerdy, so it's like I understand if Seinfeld does it, but the other guys, like I don't know, George Carlin and I don't know all the greats, Martin Lawrence, they do that stuff too, huh?
Yeah, man. I mean, Kobe Valentine talking about Jimmy Fox. I mean, Jimmy Fox blew. Some of these guys that blew up really young, kind of stopped the whole process. Jimmy Fox is doing other things, but like guys like Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle, they do the same thing. If you see like Chris Rock's most famous stand-up specials, the bit opens and it comes all the way full circle at the 5-minute mark. That takes hours and hours of shitty open mic nights performing and figuring it out. And when you're a star, Chris Rock he's come into Toronto before and done pretty below average stuff, but everyone's so excited that he's working out. We're watching a legend work out new material. He can do whatever he wants. We're excited to watch the process.
No, I can understand that. After you're famous, obviously everything's easy. Kind of like, if you already have $5 million, making another million is no problem. Or if you already have 20 million, making another million is no problem. But wow. Interesting shit. All right. Well, I guess that people are Remy CV saying stop doubting the process, Pete. I'm not doubting the process. I'm just shocked by it. I'm blown away because it seems so effortless. You know what I mean? And it seems like I don't know, like when I was a kid and I would make my friends laugh. I wasn't sitting there thinking 7 minutes, 7-second punchline, connector, lead in, twist, the tag. I was just saying funny shit that I thought my friends would laugh at, and they did. So I assume that that's what all comedians always did ever.
No, the reason why it looks so easy, is because they've done it over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
Wow.
So by the time when you're doing your Saturday Night at the Club, that all these jokes work 10 out of 10 times. That they work 25 out of 25 times. They're always going to work.
See, Bill Butler says Theo Von is Tom Brady with a mullet. Bill Butler wasn't sitting there going okay, connect this one to that one, and then he just said something that was funny. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's funny because you know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But if he's at a stand-up club and he tells us, what the fuck? Who looks like a what mullet? You need to have everybody on board. It's easy for Bill Butler to get laughs here because we all know sports. We all know, so he can make a joke about someone looking like Brady with a mullet. But if he comes up in a comedy club and does that, no one knows what the fuck he's talking about because not everybody knows sports.
Wow.
Your sports bits like you can't do them in a comedy club because no one cares about the average person doesn't give a fuck about sports. So your sports jokes are useless.
Right.
And your inside jokes are useless. They're all useless because you're a bunch of strangers that don't believe in you generally.
But butt sex and blowjobs work everywhere. Those jokes work everywhere. Every country in the world, every corner of the world, right?
No. There's some clubs that don't want you to do that. They don't want you to work blue, and there's some clubs. It all depends. Now, if you're a big star, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Right. Well, this has been very interesting to me. I hope you found this entertaining. For those who didn't find it entertaining, that's okay because, of course, we weren't skipping out on any sports handicapping because there's nothing else.
No, we were. Bill Butler says, "Can you please tell Pete I said to take Robert Whitaker?"
Oh.
At upcoming UFC
MMA,
225.
yes, we will. Well, we'll get to UFC, or actually, I'm taking a week off. So, okay, duly noted. Robert Whitaker. I will keep that in mind. I guess we can wrap it up now, huh, Jim?
Sure.
That was kind of fun. An unusual version of the Loshak in the Bag show here for a Monday morning. And we're going to do the exact same type of show today at 6 o'clock Eastern time because we'll have one fewer game to look into. Right, Jim? I mean, maybe we can start talking about a little bit about CFL or World Cup or the Belmont or anything else. But maybe we'll throw on a Q&A in the afternoon show as well. Why not?
Yeah, and Sean Robinson says, "You really think the average person doesn't give a shit about sports?" No, but the average person at a comedy club doesn't give a... I mean, that's why I had to cut almost all of my shit about sports. Like there was very few. I could tell you one joke that I used to be able to tell about sports, but it was just one. And I had a shaved head. I still have a shaved head, man. I've rocked a shaved head, my whole life. And I had a joke when I was 24 when we lost the Expos because I rocked my Montreal Expos jersey when I was on stage. And God, this is so long ago. The joke was, I don't like wearing my Montreal Expos jersey anymore because with my shaved head, I look like a sick kid with one last wish. And then I was like, in a little boy's voice, I was like, I want to see the Expos play. Daddy says I'm going to live in the clouds. And my hopes are high, but my bone marrow is low. And that was the only sports joke I could actually get away with for a while because people don't know, they don't want to talk sports at comedy clubs. So,
wow, yeah. Unbelievable, all right, very interesting stuff. Do you think we should do a Q&A in the afternoon show as well?
If people want it.
If people want it, I'll put it in there. We'll be back at 6 o'clock Eastern time. Who knows what's going to happen? We'll definitely review all the games and the line moves that we've seen in the games that we have going on tonight. Maybe we'll do another Q&A. We'll see you at 6 o'clock Eastern time. Thanks so much.